I was 11 when my grandmother Maria died. That's actually me in the photo, looking extremely confused on my first birthday. When my grandmother first began forgetting things, they said it was just old age. When she started losing track of time and her belongings, they said it was to be expected, of course. And when my mom found her wandering outside alone, cold, terrified, running away from imaginary soldiers, tracking her, they said it was too late. My grandmother's dementia was never treated. There was no medicine for it in the early 90s. But it was also never diagnosed, and it was never even named. And that is still the status quo for the 50 million people who live with dementia globally. 75% of them today never get a diagnosis. And why is that? Well, it's because the tools we have to diagnose dementia aren't up to the challenge of early detection and screening. Brain scanning is way too expensive, spinal taps are too invasive, clinical exams are impractical because there aren't enough neurologists to do them, and the only serious contender for screening, psychological testing, is just not precise enough. The false positives and negatives go up to 50%. The fact that the number of Europeans with dementia will double from 10 to 20 million in just the next 25 years is terrible enough. But the fact is that dementia is not just a medical issue, it's a social justice issue. Dementia is a terrible burden to communities. Each case burdens 3 additional people, usually their families. And dementia also causes social inequalities. If you live in the countryside, you have a 60% higher chance of getting it, but you are underdiagnosed compared to the city. Women are twice as likely to get it, but are underdiagnosed compared to men. The way we approach dementia detection nowadays isn't just terrible because it's slow and inefficient, it's not equitable. But what if Maria and other women like her had a different option, a test that was non-invasive and painless, wasn't dependent upon cultural language, fast, efficient, and accurate, and objective and repeatable, so they could do it multiple times over the years? Well, as it happens, there is such a test, and we built it. It's called the Braintrip Dementia Index Test, or BDI for short. It's based on automated quantitative analysis of brain waves, or EEG for short. It can be used to detect the disease and monitor its progression. It's fully automatic. It takes 20 minutes to do the test. It's non-invasive. You just put a cap on your head, sit in a chair for a couple of minutes, and the test is done. And you get the results in 5 minutes. It takes minimal training, it's mobile, it actually fits in this briefcase here, and this is basically the closest we'll get to a brain scanner in a briefcase. So this is our first device that we built in 2020. The briefcase is a little beat up because it's been all over the planet by now, but this is it. It doesn't look like much, but that's the point. It shouldn't look like much. It should be cheap. How do we know it works? Well, there are 5,000 published neuroscientific papers on dementia and EEG, and you can look at them by clicking that QR code. But we've also did our own clinical trial, and the test has an accuracy of 93%. It outperformed all other psychological screening tests. The BDI is also market ready. We spent 3 years in basic R&D, got our CE mark in 2021. In 2022, we conducted the clinical trial. In 2023, we entered the market in Malta and Slovenia. And with the help, hopefully, of the SIT grant, we hope to expand throughout Europe starting early next year. We have a B2B2C business model, which means we sell this to hospitals and they offer it to patients. The tests are cheap, 50 to 150 euros. What about the impact? Well, that's our timeline for expansion. Early next year, we hope to enter Germany, and then France a year afterwards, and then the US. Well, we've already doing commercial tests. We've done 700 over the past year. We hope to expand by a factor of 10 by next year, and by 2026, we hope to be doing 100,000 tests a year. That translates to a revenue of about 5 million. What about the impact? Well, we can define narrow impact as the amount of money we can save the medical system, because based on published research, each case of early dementia detection helps save 7,500 euros to the medical system. The impact is on the right axis and it's different from the left one. So that's narrow impact, but broader impact is the economic benefits the society has by having functioning elders who are not limited by dementia. Our leverage between our revenue and the narrow impact is 1 to 10. For every euro we make, society benefits between 10 to 40 euros, depending on whether you look at the narrow impact or the whole economic impact. With the SIT prize, we could enter the German market early next year, and that's because we already have the hospitals picked out, but doctors are spoiled by the giant pharmaceutical companies, and they expect us to give them the device for free in the beginning until they get used to using it, of course, which is difficult for a small startup. So getting 100K would enable 5 pilots in Germany and Austria to start by next year. Honestly, what we've gotten from the SIT collaboration so far has also been quite enriching, because we made awesome new connections we hope to leverage in the future. Of course, we hope to have a positive and meaningful impact on the lives of patients with dementia, and that's not just important on the global or community level. It's also important for you. It's important for me, and it's important for all of our parents and grandparents coming forward. Thank you, and thank you from the whole team.